The world awoke to an unusual stillness. That morning, the kind of quiet that felt wrong, like a storm was about to break. Only no one knew where or when it would strike. The sky above Earth flickered for a brief moment and then settled into an eerie calm. Something was happening. No one could explain. The first hint came when the global communications network sputtered, and then all at once a message appeared on every screen in the world. It wasn't a warning or an alert. It was a strange transmission of symbols and patterns that made no sense at first. But as people watched, they began to understand it was a message from the stars. At first, many dismissed it as some kind of elaborate hoax, a prank by hackers, or an elaborate marketing stunt for some new movie. But then came the unmistakable sound of a voice that didn't belong to any human being. It was deep and resonant, an ancient tone that echoed across every corner of the planet. The voice spoke one phrase over and over, repeating it like a chant, and each time it seemed to carry more weight, more authority. The words were simple yet unsettling. You owe a debt to the universe. Across the world, people stared at their screens, frozen in disbelief. Some were terrified, some tried to laugh it off. But the message didn't stop. It came again and again from every device, from every corner of the earth. It filled the airwaves. And then there was a silence, the kind that makes your heart race, like everything is holding its breath. And then, as if to confirm the seriousness of it, a fleet of unknown ships appeared at the edge of the solar system. They were massive structures like nothing humanity had ever seen. Not one ship, but dozens hovering just beyond the reach of Earth's orbit. Their shape was unfamiliar, yet somehow elegant but ominous, and the world could feel it. The question had been asked, and the universe was waiting for an answer. Governments scrambled for answers, military forces went into high alert, and a wave of panic spread across every nation. The elites met in secret rooms strategizing, while the average person sat in front of their television screens, hoping this was all just some elaborate mistake. But no one could ignore the undeniable presence of the fleet watching them. From the stars, the voice from earlier came once again, this time louder, more insistent, echoing across the world's airwaves. Your time has come. And with that, the message ended, leaving a wave of uncertainty in its wake. Just as quickly as the message appeared, the fleet began to move closer, ever so slowly but surely. Earth's atmosphere seemed to bend and twist around the ships as they drifted toward the planet's surface like giant predators, encircling their prey. The silence that followed was almost deafening. In moments of chaos, people sought answers and explanations, but the only thing clear to everyone now was that something ancient and powerful had been awakened, and the fate of Earth rested in the hands of those who would decide what to do next. But one thing was certain: the universe was watching, and it would not be patient. In the days that followed the message, humanity was plunged into confusion and fear. World leaders and scientists tried desperately to decode the cryptic message, but it only led to more questions than answers. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some said the elders were ancient gods, others claimed they were a highly advanced species that had been watching Earth for centuries. Some believed it was a warning of an impending catastrophe, while others thought it was some sort of cosmic test. The global response was fractured. Some governments demanded immediate action, while others urged calm and diplomacy. But as the days passed, it became clear that the Earth was at the mercy of forces far beyond their comprehension. The message continued to echo in the background, a constant reminder that humanity had a debt to repay. Dr. Evelyn Rain, a renowned astrophysicist who had spent her life studying the mysteries of space, was one of the few who remained calm in the midst of the chaos. Her mind raced with questions. What did the debt mean? What was the nature of the ancient civilization that had made contact with Earth? And most importantly, what did they want now? She dug into old records, ancient texts, and satellite data, hoping to find anything that might provide a clue about the mysterious beings behind the message. After days of relentless research, Rain uncovered something remarkable buried deep within Earth's history. Texts written by ancient civilizations from around the world described encounters with beings who came from the stars, offering knowledge and technology in exchange for something. The details were vague, but one thing was clear: these beings were not human, and their influence stretched across the ages. It seemed that the debt wasn't something that could be repaid in a single moment. It was a debt that had been passed down through generations, perhaps even millennia. But there was a catch. Rain discovered that these beings, the Elders, had left humanity with a difficult choice. They had granted Earth incredible technological advancements, but it came with a price that humanity would only have to pay when the Elders decided the time was right, and now that time had come. The world's leaders were thrown into disarray as they debated what to do. Some believed the debt could be paid in the form of resources. Others thought that the Elders wanted something more intangible, like a demonstration of humanity's worth. Some factions even suggested that the only way to survive was to fight back. But Rain believed there was a different answer, something that could allow humanity to maintain control of its destiny. As she continued her research, Rain stumbled upon a hidden message buried within the ancient texts, a prophecy of sorts that spoke of a time when humanity would face its greatest trial, and that only by understanding their past could they hope to survive the future. Rain believed that the key to unlocking the debt lay not in technology or resources, but in understanding the true nature of the relationship between Earth and the Elders. Meanwhile, the global situation was growing more tense. The fleet of alien ships hovered just outside Earth's atmosphere, growing closer with each passing day, and with them came a growing sense of dread. Would the Elders demand an impossible price, or would humanity find a way to satisfy the debt and avoid destruction? The universe seemed to hold its breath, waiting for Earth's next move. But one thing was certain: no matter what humanity chose, this moment would define their future for generations to come. The universe was watching. In the vast, endless reaches of space, the Galactic Council, an alliance of the oldest and most powerful civilizations, had already begun discussing Earth's fate. News of humanity's cosmic debt had spread like wildfire, and now every faction across the galaxy was forced to pay attention. No one knew exactly what the Elders wanted from Earth, but the implications of their presence were undeniable. The ships that hovered above Earth were the first sign of a much greater reckoning, a reckoning that even the most seasoned alien diplomats could not ignore. The Galactic Council was divided. On one side were the benevolent factions, those who sought to see Earth flourish, curious to see how a relatively young species would respond to such a monumental challenge. They viewed the situation as an opportunity to test humanity's potential, to see if Earth could rise to meet the same trials that had forged the greatest civilizations of the galaxy. On the other side, the more cynical and aggressive factions were eager to see Earth fail. These factions had little patience for upstarts like humanity and saw the cosmic debt as the perfect opportunity to rid the galaxy of a potential threat. If Earth were to be destroyed, it would remove a potential rival from the cosmic stage and open up vast resources for the taking. They would strike before humanity had a chance to prove its worth. The Council's debates were heated, but nothing could be decided. The situation was too precarious. As the ships loomed larger, the Council's representatives began to shift their focus, realizing that the decision was ultimately in humanity's hands. Earth's response would determine whether the galaxy saw them as a burgeoning power or a doomed, fragile species. If Earth faltered now, the galaxy might never look at them the same way again. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Evelyn Rain had become a symbol of hope for humanity. As governments bickered and military forces prepared for the worst, Rain's team of scientists and historians continued to dig into ancient texts, searching for a clue, anything, that might help them understand what the Elders truly wanted. She had made a breakthrough. The artifact discovered in Antarctica had been a vital piece of the puzzle, revealing not just clues about the Elders, but a disturbing truth about their intentions. It seemed the Elders didn't just want a material payment. They wanted something far more elusive, a demonstration of humanity's worth in the grand cosmic order. They sought proof that humans could overcome their flaws and prove themselves worthy of taking a place among the stars. But the artifact also contained something else, a warning. Rain was not sure whether the Elders intended it to be a test of humanity's survival or a challenge meant to push Earth to its breaking point. Either way, the stakes were enormous. Humanity needed to show not just intelligence or strength, but the very essence of what made them human, their ability to adapt, to choose hope over despair, to rise above when the universe seemed intent on crushing them. As tensions rose on Earth, the Vorn, a mysterious and powerful alien faction, made their move. Unlike the Elders, they didn't make grand proclamations or demands. They arrived in the shadows, offering assistance in exchange for Earth's cooperation. Their pitch was simple: join us, and we will help you fulfill the debt to the Elders. Refuse, and your species will face annihilation. It wasn't just an offer, it was a threat wrapped in a promise. The Vorn had already made their calculations. They knew the galaxy better than anyone, and they had no interest in seeing Earth succeed. But their offer was tempting, especially for those who believed that survival meant striking a deal with the strongest forces in the galaxy. Dr. Rain was deeply suspicious of the Vorn's offer. Their sudden appearance felt too convenient, their intentions too vague. She had worked with alien technologies before, and while the Vorn's resources were impressive, something about their presence didn't sit right. Rain knew that if Earth chose to accept the Vorn's help, they might not only lose their freedom, they might lose the very essence of what made them human. The Galactic Council remained silent, watching from afar, knowing that Earth's decision would tip the balance of power in the galaxy. The pressure on humanity was immense, and the choices they made in the coming days would not only decide their future, but their place in the universe. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the fate of the galaxy itself, hung in the balance. Humanity had always prided itself on its resilience, its ability to face impossible odds and still fight back. But now, as the pressure mounted and the world seemed on the brink of collapse, it became clear that the test was more difficult than anyone had anticipated. The Vorn, who had subtly infiltrated Earth's political and military systems, were a growing threat, their offer of protection a tempting yet dangerous proposal. Earth's leaders were torn. Some saw the Vorn as their only hope for survival, while others, led by Dr. Evelyn Rain, feared that allying with them would mean surrendering humanity's autonomy, and perhaps its soul. As nations debated in secret, the global population felt the weight of impending disaster. The ships in the sky loomed larger every day, their presence undeniable and suffocating. Some cities had already begun evacuating their populations, preparing for what seemed like an inevitable strike. But despite the fear, something remarkable began to happen. A new movement formed from the chaos. Ordinary people, soldiers, scientists, and dreamers all united by one idea. Earth would face this challenge together. A global coalition was born. Fueled by desperation, citizens across the world began to rally behind the idea that humanity's strength lay in its unity. This wasn't just about military might or technological advancement. It was about proving to the Elders and to the universe that humans could overcome their most challenging trials without losing their humanity. Dr. Rain became the face of this new movement. Her earlier discoveries had already earned her respect, but now, as the world turned to her for guidance, she found herself at the center of the most critical mission in human history. Earth needed to find a way to demonstrate its worth, and Rain had a plan. She believed that the key to humanity's survival wasn't in appeasing the Elders with resources or offering some token of value. It was in proving humanity's unyielding spirit. Her idea was simple but risky. Assemble the best minds from every field, military and scientific alike, and send a team to the heart of the mystery. The unknown artifact discovered beneath the Antarctic ice. Rain theorized that this artifact held the key to unlocking humanity's potential, something that would not only allow them to survive the Elders' judgment, but perhaps turn the tables entirely. Despite resistance from some governments, the mission was approved, and a team of the brightest and most trusted minds was gathered. They would descend into the heart of the frozen wasteland, a dangerous place where few had dared to tread. There was no guarantee that the artifact would provide the answers they so desperately sought, but Dr. Rain's intuition told her that it was the best chance Earth had. But even as they prepared for the expedition, the pressure from the Vorn grew stronger. They knew that the Coalition's mission could spell disaster for their plans. The Vorn were not the benevolent allies they claimed to be. They were power-hungry, manipulative, and had no intention of letting Earth stand on its own. Their true goal was to ensure that humanity would become nothing more than a pawn in their galaxy-spanning empire. As the days passed, the tension between Earth's united front and the Vorn escalated. A covert mission was planned to infiltrate Vorn facilities on the Moon, hoping to uncover their true motives before it was too late. Rain's team had no choice but to act fast. The longer they waited, the more power the Vorn could amass, and the more uncertain Earth's future would become. As the global coalition's forces began their assault on the Vorn's lunar base, something unexpected occurred. The alien fleet, once looming in the distance, began to move closer. A message, clear and chilling, flashed across every screen on Earth. Your time has come. Make your choice, or face the consequences. It was an ultimatum. The world was running out of time, and the stakes had never been higher. The coming days would determine whether humanity would fall to the pressure or rise to meet the challenge. As Earth's forces made their final preparations, the universe held its breath. The final test was approaching, and the fate of the planet would soon be decided. The countdown had begun, and Earth's fate hung in the balance. The fleet of alien ships, a staggering array of advanced vessels, hovered just beyond Earth's atmosphere, their presence growing ever more suffocating. The universal clock was ticking down, and with it came an overwhelming sense of urgency. Humanity had no more time for hesitation. The final trial had arrived, and it was clear that the elders would accept nothing less than total resolution. Dr. Evelyn Rain and her team had gathered in a secure facility, working tirelessly to decipher the final pieces of the puzzle they believed would grant them a way to neutralize the cosmic anomaly that threatened Earth. The anomaly, a swirling mass of energy visible from the surface of the planet, was growing rapidly, pulling everything in its path into its gravitational pull. No one knew its full nature or origin, but it was unlike anything Earth scientists had ever encountered. It was a force of nature so powerful that it could tear apart the planet if left unchecked. Rain was convinced that the anomaly had been triggered as part of the Elder's test, a demonstration of humanity's ability to rise above its limitations and face the unknown. The clues had been scattered across Earth's history, embedded within ancient relics and texts, but now it was clear. Earth's only chance at survival was to somehow neutralize the anomaly before it consumed everything. The pressure was unbearable. The universe, the elders, and even the Vorn, who had now revealed their true allegiance to an imperial agenda, were all waiting to see what humanity would do next. Rain had uncovered one piece of information buried within the artifact from Antarctica that had remained overlooked until now, a reference to an ancient power, one that transcended physical technology. The artifact seemed to suggest that Earth possessed the ability to interact with the anomaly through a forgotten force, something not reliant on weapons or traditional technology, but on human will and unity. Rain knew this was their only hope. The plan was radical, but the more she examined it, the more convinced she became that it was the only option left. It wasn't about defeating the anomaly with sheer power. Instead, humanity had to somehow tap into its collective consciousness, its shared history, and its potential to work together as one. The process would be dangerous. There was no telling if it would work, but the alternative was too terrible to consider. As the global coalition prepared for the unprecedented mission, military forces and scientific teams worked together in an operation unlike any other. An immense energy conduit was being constructed at the equator, a vast network of interconnected devices that would allow humanity to focus its collective efforts and channel them into the anomaly. The goal was to synchronize Earth's most advanced technologies with the latent potential within the human psyche, attempting to stabilize the anomaly before it tore the planet apart. However, the Vorn had other plans. They had watched Rain's progress with growing concern, and as Earth's preparations accelerated, they began to make their move. Their fleet had positioned itself just outside Earth's atmosphere, and their emissaries began to infiltrate key military and political installations, attempting to sabotage the efforts. They offered new deals, pushing humanity to abandon its radical approach in favor of joining their empire. The Vorn knew that if humanity succeeded in using its own untapped potential, they would lose control over Earth, and with it, a valuable resource they had coveted for centuries. As the days wore on and the pressure mounted, a small group of resistance fighters led by Rain's closest allies, scientists, engineers, and former military commanders, worked to ensure that the Vorn's sabotage efforts would fail. But even as they held their ground, Rain couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. Every minute counted, and every decision was critical. The energy conduit was nearly complete, but they had to act soon, before the anomaly expanded beyond anyone's ability to control it. With the countdown ticking ever closer, Rain stood before the global coalition, rallying them with a final speech. "We are the stewards of this planet," she said. "Our future depends not on the weapons we've created, but on our ability to face the unknown and rise together. This is not just about saving Earth. This is about proving to the universe that humanity can survive and thrive in the face of impossible odds. We are ready." As the coalition prepared to launch their final efforts, the Vorn revealed their last card. Their fleet was moving in, and they would stop at nothing to prevent humanity's success. The stage was set for the greatest battle Earth had ever known, not just for survival, but for the very soul of humanity itself. The universe held its breath, waiting for what would come next. The day of reckoning had arrived. The energy conduit, an unprecedented network of satellites, power stations, and synchronized human efforts, was now fully operational. Across the globe, from the bustling cities to the remote mountainsides, humanity held its collective breath. It was a tense moment, one that felt suspended in time, as the final preparations were made. Dr. Evelyn Rain stood at the command center, her mind racing. The plan they had put into motion was the culmination of years of research, hundreds of sleepless nights, and the collaboration of millions around the world. But even with everything in place, the outcome was uncertain. Would the anomaly be neutralized? Could humanity tap into the ancient force that connected them all, a force capable of altering the very fabric of the universe? In the sky above, the alien fleet, the Elders' ships, moved in closer, their massive silhouettes blocking out the sun. The Vorn had not been idle either. Their fleet had moved into position as well, watching from the edge of the atmosphere like a silent storm ready to strike. Their emissaries had been active in trying to sway the leaders of Earth, offering power, influence, and security, all in exchange for submission to their empire. But Rain had resisted their every offer, understanding that the Vorn were not allies. They were conquerors. The resistance efforts to sabotage the Vorn's influence were in full swing. A covert group of Earth's best operatives had infiltrated Vorn-controlled stations on the Moon, hacking into their systems and exposing critical vulnerabilities. It was a race against time. If the Vorn succeeded in disrupting the conduit or destabilizing the anomaly's energy signature, Earth would be doomed. "We're ready," said General Eric Holloway, the leader of Earth's unified military forces, his voice steady but filled with an underlying tension. He glanced at Rain. "The energy grid is aligned. The human synchronization network is in place. It's time." Rain nodded. The operation was no longer just a scientific endeavor. It was a test of the human spirit. This was their moment to prove they could unite in ways that no other species in the galaxy had ever done. They had to work as one, channeling their thoughts, emotions, and will into a singular force. But they had never attempted anything like this before. If they failed, the consequences were unimaginable. As the global coalition initiated the final sequence, the vast network of energy resonators hummed to life, sending pulses of energy toward the anomaly. For the first time in history, millions of people across the world connected their minds, linking in a way that transcended physical distance. They focused all their mental and emotional energy on the singular goal of neutralizing the growing cosmic force. At the same time, the Elders' ships began to move into position, their massive forms blocking out the stars. Their command ships sent a communication, one that was broadcast across every screen on Earth. "You have chosen your path," the voice echoed, deep and resonant. "The debt you owe has been paid in blood, in history, and in sacrifices. We have watched you for eons. This moment has been inevitable." But then, to everyone's shock, the elders paused. Their ships didn't advance. Instead, they hovered. A strange vibration filled the air, a hum that matched the frequency of the energy being emitted by Earth's human network. The anomaly flickered, pulsing erratically, as if responding to the combined human will. Rain stood frozen. Something was happening. The energy was coalescing. It wasn't just a simple force, it was something else. The anomaly's energy signature began to shift, responding to the collective human consciousness. The connection between Earth and the force within the anomaly was more profound than anyone had anticipated. The Vorn fleet, observing from the edges of Earth's orbit, began to move. But they were not moving toward Earth. Instead, they began to retreat, their ships backing away from the growing power they sensed. Their initial confidence turned to fear as the energy from the anomaly began to stabilize, no longer threatening but resonating with the strength of the collective human will. The elders, sensing the shift in the cosmic balance, responded. A new transmission rang through the speakers across the planet. "You have shown us your resolve, but the test is not over. What you do next will determine your future in the galaxy. The debt will not be erased until we see that you have truly transcended your limitations." For the first time since the crisis began, humanity had shown its true potential, not through force, but through unity and the strength of its collective will. The universe had watched and had now paused to take stock of what had unfolded. Rain's heart pounded as she realized the elders weren't finished with their judgment. But Earth had passed the first trial. They had shown something the galaxy had never expected: the power of a united humanity. But what would come next was unknown. The universe still held its breath, waiting for humanity's final response. The tension in the air was palpable, and for the first time since the arrival of the elders, Earth's leaders felt a glimmer of hope. The anomaly, once an impending disaster, was now stabilizing, its chaotic energy slowly ebbing as humanity's combined efforts forged an unexpected harmony. Dr. Evelyn Rain stood at the center of it all, her heart racing, her mind still processing the magnitude of what had just happened. They had done it. At least, they had done the impossible for now. But the universe was not done with them yet. The elders' ominous message still echoed in Rain's mind. What you do next will determine your future in the galaxy. It wasn't a warning. It was a challenge, one that held the weight of an entire species' destiny. They had passed the first test, but the trials of the universe were far from over. Rain knew that the true test of humanity's worth had only just begun. Around her, the control center buzzed with activity. The energy signature of the anomaly had shifted to a steady pulse, no longer threatening to tear the planet apart. However, the fleets of alien ships above Earth hadn't budged. The elders watched, and so did the Vorn, whose ships lingered in the distance, unwilling to give up their pursuit of domination. As the world waited with bated breath, Dr. Rain's attention turned to the global coalition's next move. They had a narrow window of opportunity, a chance to use this moment of stabilization to take the next step. Earth's leaders had agreed to continue with the plan Rain had devised, to not only prove humanity's worth, but to do so on their own terms. They would not be swayed by the Vorn's threats or the Elders' manipulation. If humanity was to take its place in the galaxy, they would do so as equals, not as subservient pawns. But in the midst of all the excitement, something unexpected occurred. The Vorn fleet, which had been steadily retreating, suddenly reversed course and began advancing once more. They didn't come in peace. Their weapons were primed, and their warships gleamed in the vacuum of space. The message from their leader was clear and brutal. The galaxy is ours to control. Your fleeting victory is nothing but a distraction. You will submit, or we will eradicate you. Rain's mind raced. The Vorn were not content with just manipulating Earth from the shadows anymore. They had no intention of letting the planet rise to its full potential. Their desire for dominance was insatiable, and Earth's unexpected defiance had sparked a fire they weren't prepared to let burn unchecked. Prepare for battle. General Holloway's voice broke through the haze of Rain's thoughts. We will defend this planet with everything we have. But Rain knew that a war of attrition would only lead to devastation. She turned to the team of scientists and strategists who had helped her craft the human synchronization network. We can't fight them conventionally, she said, her voice steady despite the overwhelming odds. We have to use what we've learned, the power we've unlocked. We need to redirect the energy from the anomaly into a defensive grid, something that will protect Earth, not just from the Vorn, but from the Elders as well. She glanced toward the skies. The alien fleets above Earth were about to clash in a battle that could determine not just the fate of the planet, but the future of the galaxy. But Rain had an idea, a last-ditch plan to give humanity a fighting chance. It was risky, but it was their only hope. As she activated the final sequence, the global synchronization network began to hum with renewed intensity. The energy from the anomaly, now harnessed by millions of minds working as one, was funneled into a powerful shield, a vast web of force designed to hold back both the Vorn and the Elders. The power of humanity's collective will, its resolve, its unity, became a barrier that stretched across the planet, a living force field that began to shimmer and glow with an ethereal light. For a moment, nothing happened. The Vorn fleet continued its approach, and the Elder ships hovered, silent, watching. But then, the shield expanded, pushing back the incoming ships. It wasn't a physical force. It was something more, something the Vorn had not anticipated. The shield wasn't just protecting Earth. It was repelling the invaders, forcing them to pause, as if the collective energy of humanity itself was sending a message. Earth is not a prize to be claimed, and we will not bow to anyone. The Vorn hesitated, their fleet stalling in mid-flight. The Elders, meanwhile, remained silent, their ships observing, analyzing. But Rain could feel it. A shift in the air. They weren't just fighting for survival anymore. Earth was sending a message to the entire galaxy. We are not to be controlled. Rain looked out at the vast expanse of space, her mind filled with a strange sense of determination. The universe had come to judge them, but now, for the first time, humanity was judging the universe in return. The shield surrounding Earth pulsed with a radiant energy, like a heartbeat that reverberated through the very core of the planet. It was as if humanity itself had become the planet's guardian, an embodiment of collective will and strength. The Vorn fleet had halted in mid-flight, their ships trembling against the growing power of Earth's defense, while the Elders' vessels remained eerily still, watching from the edges of the solar system. The balance had shifted. Earth, once on the brink of destruction, now held the power to defy the forces that sought to crush it. Dr. Evelyn Rain stood at the control center, her eyes wide as the energy from the anomaly continued to pulse through the global network. Her fingers hovered over the console, ready to activate the final stage of the plan. The shield had grown stronger, and now it was time to push it further. It wasn't just a barrier anymore. It was a declaration, a statement that Earth would not submit, not to the Vorn, not to the Elders, and certainly not to any other force that would seek to dominate it. We have to hold this position, Rain said, her voice calm but firm. We can't let the Vorn breach the shield. They'll try to find a way around it. We need to keep their ships trapped outside. General Holloway nodded, his face a mixture of determination and anxiety. We'll do everything we can to maintain the perimeter. But we can't hold this forever. We need to make them understand that we're not a threat. We're just trying to survive. Rain shook her head. It's more than survival now. We need to show them that humanity is not here to be controlled. We're not the same species we were when they first contacted us. We've changed. We've grown. As the moment stretched into what felt like an eternity, Rain and her team worked tirelessly, using the combined strength of Earth's collective consciousness to keep the shield intact. The Vorn continued to test the energy field, sending probes and smaller craft to probe its weaknesses, but they were consistently repelled. Each attempt was met with failure, and the invaders began to realize the futility of their tactics. Meanwhile, the elders remained silent, observing, their ships frozen in place as if waiting for something, for a sign that humanity's resolve had been tested enough. Rain felt their presence in the back of her mind, a distant, ancient intelligence that had seen millennia come and go. But Earth's new power was something they had never anticipated. A species united by something stronger than technology, something that could not be measured or controlled. Then, without warning, the communication channels from the Elder ships flared to life. The voice that spoke was not harsh or threatening, but heavy with the weight of eons. Humanity has passed the trial. The debt is paid, but not in blood or resources. You have proven something far more important, that your species is capable of overcoming your limitations. You have demonstrated unity, adaptability, and strength. These are the qualities we have watched for. Rain's breath caught in her throat. For a moment, the world seemed to stop, the weight of the message settling over her like a shroud. The elders were not demanding more from Earth. They were acknowledging it. Humanity had passed their trial, but more than that, they had earned a place in the galaxy. The voice continued, "You have shown that you are ready to stand among the stars. Your future is no longer determined by us, but by your own actions. You will be watched, as you always have been. But now you are free to choose your own path. The universe is yours to explore." As the final words echoed across the control center, Rain looked up at the massive screens displaying the alien fleets. The Vorn, whose ships had been attempting to break through the shield, now hesitated. The elders had spoken, and the galactic powers knew it. There would be no war, no further conflict. Earth had passed the test, and the galaxy would now have to acknowledge the strength of humanity. Rain took a deep breath, feeling a wave of relief wash over her. They had done it. Earth was not just a pawn in the cosmic game anymore. They were players now, standing alongside the most powerful species in the universe. But even as the battle for Earth's survival had ended, another journey was about to begin. Humanity would have to rise to meet new challenges, explore the stars, and forge alliances with those who had once seen them as insignificant. The universe was vast, and Earth's place in it was no longer uncertain. General Holloway turned to Rain, a slight smile breaking through his usually stern expression. "What now, Dr. Rain?" Rain looked out the windows, where the shield still shimmered with its protective glow, a beacon of human achievement. "Now," she said, "we begin the next chapter. Together." And as Earth entered a new era, one of exploration, unity, and discovery, the stars above seemed just a little bit closer, waiting for humanity to claim its place among them.